Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Happy Friday, TGIF. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing? Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris, and there you are. We see you, just like on Romper Room. Where is that? I have a thing here I've been playing with. Where did I put it? You know what? I just cleaned this desk off last weekend. And before I cleaned it off, I could find everything. Now that I've cleaned... I'm just going to ring the bell and leave it there. Lord, Lord, Lord. Welcome to today's show. It's Friday. It's a great show. I'm not going to mess around with a bunch of yak this morning because I want to get right to it. I'm a little nasally because Bri and I, that's my husband, we're both battling colds. We were running around in the yard in the rainstorm the other day because the sunshine was out. We're like, a rainbow, a rainbow. Brought our old asses inside the house to the air conditioning the next day. Right. So, you know what I mean? So anyway, that's what I'm dealing with. So I've got my Vicks powerful things. I've got, here it is. This thing. I'll try not to do that on camera. I know it's kind of gross. But anyway, bear with me. Today's a great day in the neighborhood because you're here, number one, first and foremost, the promise that says that where two or more of us come together, something wonderful is going to happen. Not might, could, should, or would. It will. And it is happening here today. So thank you for coming in and bearing your soul. Our theme this year, share your soul. I'll show you mine. You show me yours. We have the conversation, and together we change this world. Can I get an amen? That's the bell of purpose. When you hear it, it's not just a prop. It's not just a little thing. It is a wake-up call. Why? Because first and foremost, the truth is the only thing in the universe that never changes and never changes on us. And it does have a ring to it. So when some truth is out there, I don't want you to miss it. So you're going to hear that right there. Can I get an amen? Okay. Jason SISNEROS is here today. And, you know, we come on, we have a lot of fun from time to time talking about, you know, real things, real topics, but we have fun too. But today I brought him back because for the very first time, Power of We, some of you may have seen that we just put our date out about a week and a half ago. We will be, again, so excited, at the Stan Mansion in Logan Square here in Chicago. An incredible venue. We just love it. We are going to be there on April 28th. April 28th. And this year we have added a theme, if you will, because we're going to get into why, but the theme this year is keeping our kids safe. So before I bring Jason in, I wanted to give you guys an idea of what it's going to look like, or what it has looked like, rather, in the past. And also, just to bring you up to the current status of what we're doing. This is the very first time that Power of We is actually partnering with another organization. And it's for a real reason. It's for a real reason. A few years ago, when we started the Power of We for inner city kids and this and the other, I thought I knew a lot about trafficking, or enough. I really did. I really did. And it wasn't until about, I don't know, a couple months ago, I was listening in. Jason had pinged me into one of his clubhouse groups, and I like to go in there and listen. And there was a trigger in there that got me thinking, and I haven't been able to shake it. So if you can't shake it, then you make it. So I'm bringing it in this year to the Power of We, so we can do something more. Okay. So here is what I wanted to show you from last, well, not last, this is actually from our last Chicago Power of We, and you get an idea, because I want you guys to mark your calendars now, right now, and be there in solidarity with the rest of us as we help change what's going on. So here it is, the Power of We Chicago, April 28th, ringing the bell, 2022, the Stan Mansion, where our family is dedicated to keeping our kids safe. Now I'm moving down here. Please head over to powerofwesymposium.com, where you can look at all kinds of stuff. Lots of video from the speakers, including Jason SISNEROS. He's spoken at both of ours, the Chicago Symposium as well as the Atlanta Symposium. A lot of your favorites, Dom Fawcett, on and on. And I wanted to show you guys this, which is our little, it's a little promo thing. It's short, but here, take a look.
Welcome to the Power of We Symposium. I am encouraged and grateful that you're here today, because you could have been anywhere else. You could have been absent today, but you are right here.
I was fat. Bye.
We was able to see who he truly is, a well-dressed, groomed young man that's going to be the next doctor, the next president, the next lawyer. We don't know. But see, this is the thing. It took me starting with one idea, one dream. And then from there, it kept building up to where we was building that community.
What is important, what matters the most, is that we met, because now we're friends. You are amongst friends. You are amongst people who are here to celebrate you, to celebrate what you stand for, what you stood for yesterday, and what you will stand for tomorrow, because we believe in everything that's in front of us, because that's all that matters. Don't let your past define you. Let it refine you.
We have a choice. There's a lot of thought that went into this thing for y'all to be here. And there's those moments in life when you're handed a choice. and an opportunity. I want you to think about that for just a second.
We are all here on this planet at this time.
That's right.
To choose for ourselves.
The change starts within us. And we have to believe that we can make that difference.
The power of we is to show not just you, but to show the world that together we are all the same. We are unstoppable when we work together. It's not about the money, but money does help. Don't let society fool you.
I don't know what the circumstances of your life are. I don't know what life is like behind your closed doors. I don't know what you say to yourself at the end of the day. But I do know this, that whatever you choose, you either can become defeated or defined by it.
When you can recover and assess your situation every single day throughout the day and look at yourself in a light that nobody else sees you.
Because everybody sat where you sat, but they stayed and within purpose, and they're up here today. And you're next. You're next. Let me hear you say, I'm next. One more time, I'm next. Last time, I'm next.
There it is. Jason, I just had you on the screen the whole time. Welcome to today's show. I'm glad you're here. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. That was so many good memories for all the things
right.
that, you know, the lives that changed, and not just the kids. I mean, you know, when you're interacting with these kids, you learn so much. It takes you back to when, you know, maybe you were younger and you know, weren't certain of your future and those types of things. And these kids were just so filled with gratitude and hope for their lives. And, you know, and you did that out of, you know, a God whisper. You turned that event into something real. And I'm just always proud of you for doing that, bro. Changed a lot of lives.
You. And I want to say thank you to you and people like Dom. You know, the core of our group has you guys show up every time. And even, you know, I don't know if there's a video on there, you guys, if you go, where Dorothy Jarrett, the principal of the school that brought us into Atlanta, she's now at the biggest high school in Georgia, not in Georgia, in Atlanta. Melanie Ramos, even our essay contest that we added to the last Power of We down there, she's now working with 6 different scientists and people from Georgia Tech. She got a $580,000 endowment to help make what she wrote about as an 8th grader. She's now entering her junior year. It's just amazing. We never knew what we were going to be doing completely, but we did it anyway. And so, Jason, you know, when we started this back at the very first Power We back in 2018, were you involved in the trafficking world? Because I don't remember exactly when you started bringing that piece in.
Yeah, it was, I got started in it around 2016. So, or 2015, late 2015.
Okay. Now, there's something, I don't know if you even know this, but I want to bring this in because I want everyone to understand. Remember, you were just saying about a lot of good memories. And there's one that I have that isn't so good from the first one. Do you remember, Jason, when we won't name the city, but it was the very first area that I approached about bringing their kids to the Power. We spent a lot of time with them. Remember, they dropped the ball. They had an issue with their buses.
Yeah.
remember we had to take all those chairs off the floor and stack them back in the catering area. And all day long, when I would go back there to check on Greta, our volunteer coordinator, and how things were going on her end, I couldn't help. It was like something was grabbing my face and making me look at those chairs. And I kept wondering, well, where are those kids? Well, this is on the Power of We video thread, where you'll find excerpts from all the speakers and interviews and things. But this is on there. We added it because I don't ever want to forget that it's so important for us to understand that we can't drop the ball on our kids. And I just want to show you guys why. Two kids.
A few minutes ago, the 18-year-old girl who was shot last week during a drive-by outside of Calumet City Mall has died. Her name is Kristen Ross.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Boy were shot in the Macy's.
Hold on, you guys. You know I'm not techie Jason, right? But yeah, so hold on. You know, I don't know about the other. It was like 60 chairs, kids that were missing. Remember, there were like 4 stacks of chairs almost up to the ceiling. Remember?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna share it and show you. This came about after like maybe a month or 2. I got the call, and I still haven't been able to shake it. So I want people to understand why all of us are so important to it. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Newsroom a few minutes ago, the 18-year-old girl who was shot last week during a drive-by outside of Calumet City Mall has died. Her name is Kristen Ross. She and a 17-year-old boy were shot in the Macy's parking lot at the River Oaks Shopping Center on Thursday night. Calumet City police say they were targeted. So far, no one has been arrested in that case.
And those 2 kids were supposed to be sitting in 2 of our silver chairs that day, but because they had already been signed out and could go anywhere they wanted to go, and this is what happened. So, having said that, that's why I'm starting even earlier than usual with this one, because just like that happens, the topic that we're bringing in today, and I want you to take it and run with it, that's why I was like, we have to keep our kids, we have to do better. We have to do better. When I was in your clubhouse listening that night, now I remember I wasn't even going to speak. You kept pinging me. I was like, not now, maybe later, or whatever it says. And then somebody that was in one of your speakers kept talking about the customer. I was like, who? I'm a customer. When I go to the grocery store, I'm a customer. When I go to the department store, how does explain what a customer is?
Yeah. So, I mean, first off, I want to say that a society and its generation can be best judged on how it protects its children and its elderly. And right now our generation is doing a horrific job. We have 10 million kids being trafficked around the world. Our elderly are treated as an afterthought, right? And we don't respect the wisdom. I mean, not every country, but our country certainly just wants to put them away and not see them anymore. And it's the same thing with our kids. And when you start talking about trafficking, what we're talking about is the rape of a child for profit. And we use these words because they're more palatable. It's hard to hear the things that are going on. It's hard to hear the things that are happening out there, but that's our generation's call, is to protect our children and our elderly. And so a customer is somebody that is shopping for that child, for that underage child. And, they call it, the pimp, right? The pimp is somebody that is selling the child. And there's lots of different ways that they're doing this. So just to add context to what you were hearing was that there's a customer base out there that are shopping for these children.
And they don't. So this is what I thought. I thought the predator just walked into some place. They had the plan. They had things on their walls. It's just like before I became a drug addict myself, I thought a drug addict had greasy long hair, sat at the freeway entrance or exit with a syringe hanging out of their arm, with a bunch of tattoos and missing teeth, until I was looking in the mirror at one and it didn't match. And that is how I missed it. you know, the misinformation, the misconception of what all went with it. And I think it applies here as well, because I remember, do you remember when we were in Salt Lake City and Amber's here, and when Amber in, I think it was January, when I was in this fancy hotel, not as fancy as the one you were in, across the street, right? But I was going, this is such a beautiful place, blah, blah, blah. And they pulled me aside and they said, well, Lauren, did you know that we actually were trafficked out of this very hotel? I would picture a bus station, a 7-Eleven bathroom, you know, some alleyway, but it's not happening like that. But what got me that day on Clubhouse is it's like the way they were talking about the customers. You know who I envisioned? Thurston and Lovey Howell from Gilligan's Island. Those kind of people are the ones finding kids and matching them up with the hungry predator. And what pissed me off was, you know, I've been incarcerated. And let me tell you something. Soon as what they call baby rapers, they got a plethora of names for them, chomo, things like that. When they hit the yard, they either go immediately and lock up, or they get, you don't even want to know. I've seen some horrible things. I mean, literally, their lives have been taken. I've seen it. And then they get out and they got to register. So there's no safe place for them, which is how it should be. But these customers, they're walking past customers, walking past us. I didn't even know they existed. How did I not know that there was this other faction in the middle helping facilitate the entire thing?
You know, the challenge that you run into, Lauren, is it's such a multifaceted problem, right? And that's because as a society, you turn a blind eye. This is how the Holocaust happened, right? You turn a blind eye. You accept othering of people, right? It's, well, they, right, and which is happening, you know, with this vaccinated, unvaccinated, all that kind of crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
You other people, and in othering them, now they become the enemy, and everybody can sort of bind around it. Now that's an overt way of looking at it, but how that happens is good people shut their eyes and do nothing. And we're dealing with a generation of people who are addicted to a screen and then have abdicated. How you get in any trouble, how you get off path, or how you get off center in any society and in your personal life is a one word called abdication, right? Abdication means you are handing over the power of decision to someone else because you're too damn lazy to do it yourself, right? Because you want to be entertained, because you want to feel comfortable, because you want to feel like it's not your responsibility. Like you want to sit back, kick back, drink a beer, watch the news or watch a football game and be uninvolved. Right? That's called abdication. That started heavily in our country 50 years ago with our elite, who now thinks that they're smarter than us and owns us as if we are slaves. And then that just rolls downhill. That all has a repercussion to it. And so it ends with our elderly and our children, and then an othering of a segment of society. And that's going on right in front of our faces right now. And we're allowing it to happen because we abdicated. Now we're going, well, my Democrat God will protect me. My Republican God will protect me. And it's not that. It's God who demands of us to step forward and listen to the call on our lives, which is never easy and always involves sacrifice, right? The call on our lives, because it calls us to become a different person. And when we're becoming that other person, we have to look around us and say, what have I gone through in life for the service and purpose of serving other people? And that's where we are as a society, is when we're talking about just turning a blind eye, we are just as guilty as the people that are perpetrating it, because we know it happens. And because it's judges, because it's police, because it's not all of them, but because you have influential people that are raping children, that are sanctioning the rape of our children, that are ignoring the rape of our children, that are watching this stuff happen, then we have to re-engage with our civic duty to open our eyes, open our mouths, and put ourselves in harm's way. And oftentimes when this stuff has gotten this bad, to start to reverse it.
Exactly. And I want to say this too, because, you know, let's just use the George Floyd thing as an example. We had seen Breonna Taylor. We saw, before those faces made it, there were countless victims. But it took getting something out there that everybody, okay, now we can't turn a blind eye. It's impossible. Why? When is it going to happen? This is a rhetorical question because I know you don't have the answer, but when is it going to be? When is this thing? This should have been a movement. It should have been all over the place. There should have been murals. There should be murals. There should be, stuff on corners and flowers and stuff before they die, at the place where they came up missing. Mark that place. Somebody's kid got snatched from here. You might want to think twice before you bring yours up in here or whatever. What do you think we need to do? Because here's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of, because I witness it when I start talking to people about even just this year's theme. And they go, oh, well, that's not, anyway, so you got time for lunch? Just like it's somebody else's problem. Oh, that happens somewhere else. Now, let me ask you this.
That's abdication. And what you do about it is you stop allowing yourself as the individual, because you cannot influence other people to do anything that you're not doing yourself. Right. And then it's just, you put it in God's hands and say, I'm going to take whatever tools I have and I'm going to go influence. But we cannot I'll use George Floyd as a really great example. Everybody in America that had eyes, right? Not a skin color. Everybody that looked at George Floyd, everybody went, that is horrific. Everybody. Mm-hmm. And when everybody looks at something and says, you know what, that's terrible, let's do something about it. And the politicians look at it and our elite gods look down and go, oh shit, right? Our people are actually upset about something together. We need to start this dividing line, which means that just because I have light skin means that I must be, for some way, shape, or form, for the murder of George Floyd. And because you have dark skin, you must be on the right side of that issue because you have dark skin. And so they start to split and divide us. And that's what's happening in this country. I've traveled coast to coast. I've been in every city, inner city. I'm doing rescues. I'm on stages. I'm in wealthy settings. I'm in poor settings. I'm with prisoners. I'm with all of the people. And we all have a common theme in life, which is we want to live our best lives possible. Right. Mm-hmm. And the people that are running this country, because we've abdicated, we have to take personal responsibility before anything is going to change. We've abdicated and said, you know what, because you have a D, I'm going to listen to everything that you say, right, wrong, or indifferent. And that means I'm going to watch MSNBC and CNN and take it as gospel. And then if I have an R in front of my name, I'm going to do everything that they say. I'm going to listen to everything that they have. I'm going to watch Fox News. I'm going to, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm going to take everything there as gospel. Nothing is gospel on either spectrum. It's about control for both sides. And in the middle is a practical application. That was the foresight of our founding fathers and founding mothers that established this country, to have two ideas and have it be better with two perspectives coming at the middle for the betterment of our people. And that's not what this is about. It's about making the rich richer and the more powerful, and screw the rest of us. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican right now. It doesn't matter. You should be an American or a citizen of this world, saying our children are being raped and our elderly are being killed.
And let me ask you, why do you think it is we can see either on Facebook, somebody took a live, or on the news, they'll say, another police shooting, or a white on black, and this and the other. We see more and more and more of it. And just like when it's a celebrity, like when they expose Matt Lauer or Bill Cosby or that sort of thing, all of a sudden it started like a splinter rising, coming out, But how come we don't see stuff on the news on a regular basis? Because this is happening all day, every day. Oh, today a child was taken from the so-and-so mall, or we just rescued these kids from the so-and-so. How come I don't think I've ever seen a rescue on the television, on the news, you know, the after. Here they are and blur their faces or whatever you need to do. But how come? What is this? Is it a cover up? Why don't we see it?
It's people not raising their voices. Like this is the issue. We can shame people. You've heard me say this before. We can shame people out of smoking cigarettes. Nationwide campaign, worldwide campaign. It's illegal to smoke in this place or illegal to smoke in that place. And now when you smoke a cigarette, you have to be in the darkest corner in the corner because it's been shamed out of society. Correct. To know that you are poisoning yourself and could poison other people, right? And we as a society have not said, you know what, enough, because we raced as fast as we could, starting, you know, it's been many years, but it culminated in 2020, where we raced from virtue signal to virtue signal. And yes, that's what I mean by virtue signal is fake caring. Fake caring. Where on your social media, you throw up on your screen, you know, Blackout Tuesday, or you throw up on your screen, I'm against this, or against Asian hate and against all this other stuff, which is common sense, you know, common sense sort of things that everybody's against that stuff. But and so that is for the purpose of splitting people apart from each other, so that Jason Cisneros, light skin, and Lauren Harris has dark skin. There's no way you guys should be talking to each other, working or solving a problem together.
Actually, I'm more of a caramel, mocha, something like that. Oh.
And I'm more like a light mocha.
I'm just saying. You know. Look, but and before we go, we had a 1-minute break. I want to show the promo you had for the Slave Free Project, so we can get into how these people started. Because before there was a group there was one or two fulfilling the promise that when we come together, like-mindedness, things can happen, and we need to figure out how to make more of these happen. You know, a couple here, a couple there. So we're going to talk about that. But here's a question from Weekly Dose of Dano. It says, do you think the American people will own responsibility one day, or are we at a point of no return? Great question.
It's a great question. And let me tell you where I believe we are. I believe that because of certain circumstances, and I won't throw names because people's, you know, brains shut off when when their side, the person that they hate, is involved. But certain things brought to light what has been going on, which is the constant and slow, steady. Everybody's heard the story of a frog in water. Just turn it up, you know, and eventually they won't jump out. They'll die because they got used to the temperature until it was too late. And what happened was we were woken up in this country at just the precise God-given time frame before it was taken and we couldn't do anything about it. Right now, we can do something about it. We can use our voices. We can use our alternative channels. If you get banned off of one thing, go to another, right? There's other places that you can participate. And we found out in just the right time. Now, remember that for us to get away from England and to begin our own destiny, where we have a constitution that's given everybody the right to vote and the right to say, and it's about the tyranny of the mob, is the individual is protected against the tyranny of the mob. You know, that's our form of government. You know, as if we can keep it, as I believe it was Benjamin Franklin said. So we live in a time that we can still reclaim this. It was less than 3% of this country at the time that stood up against Britain. Everybody else was sitting around going, you know, they would have been hashtagging, the British are okay, right? It's okay if somebody wants to come over here and
could be worse,
sleep with my wife or rape my daughter or whatever, because they're the British. It's okay. Like, I just don't want my peace to be disturbed. But 3 to 5% of this country stood up and said, no, I want to be self-determinative. I want to have the freedom and accept my sovereignty from God, not from man. And I want to be self-determinative in this life and be able to, even if I die trying, I died a free man or a free woman. And that's what happened, right? That's where we are today. Make no joke about it. Nobody's coming to save you, and you have to stand up for yourself. You have to stand up for our children, and you have to stand up for our elderly.
You know, it makes me think that's like that piece I showed you about the two kids that should have been in those chairs that day. how that'll be with me. I go to sleep with it. I wake up to it. And I don't hold space as far as it's my fault, but it's our fault. It's how I look at it.
It's our fault collectively as a society, but you can't let that seep into your soul because it takes your power.
Exactly.
Right? What happens is that we have to understand, you've heard me say this a couple of times before, where people are always like, well, I want to know what keeps you up at night. I don't care what keeps you up at night, because that is based in worry, which is based in fear, which is based in a lie that you cannot accomplish what you're put here on this earth to do. I want to know what gets you up in the morning. And it's those kids that got shot in a drive-by that maybe they wouldn't have if they were sitting in our chairs that day. It's about the fact that as I wake up today, there's little girls and little boys being chained up and sold 12 times a night for less than $25.
And that's my point.
For sexual purposes.
Right now, there's some kid, there are people inside basements chained to the town I grew up in all those years ago. There was a big scandal because they found that there was a foster parent who had 2 kids, 2 brothers. Actually, one of them got out of his chains and crawled through the window and came and brought people back. They'd been down there for 7 months, chained to water heaters and stuff. And they were in a foster home being protected, supposedly. So even that, that's trafficking right under our noses. But I want to say, before we go to this clip, remember when, because I made this clip for you guys, and do you remember when you called me and you said one of the people that was involved, I don't remember who it was, had talked about one of the frames within it, that it was the one where the guy put the hand over the mouth, and do you remember what they said about that? How that doesn't really.
That's not how it looks, right?
But that's how it looks to the ignorant. And that's got to be, it's got to be more than just me, or I wouldn't have been able to find it to use it.
Yeah.
Somebody said, here's what it looks like. Let's put it on there. People will buy it when they're talking about trafficking. So explain that before we look at it, so people can say, and you ask yourselves, you guys, when you watch this, is that how you would have seen it? Is that how you pictured it? Because that's not it at all. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, the basic premise is, and Pastor Rudy and his family, they are the most integrity-based organization that I've ever come across in my entire life. And what they don't want to do is they don't want to put out false pictures, because what it is your child, while you're watching this video right now, being on Snapchat or one of their private filters, being hit up by somebody claiming they're a 12-year-old boy that's actually a 40, 50, 60-year-old pervert, trying to get your child to send them naked pictures. That's how it looks. And it's them saying, you know what, because you guys are fighting, or you're not ignoring me, or you're not teaching me my worth as a child, I'm going to go find that worth and that satisfaction in the eyes and the words of another person. And then that puts them in danger's space, and they go out and they meet that person, they're gone forever, right? They're gone forever, and they become a product or whatever it is. That's how it looks. And so, when you're watching this, understand that what you're going to see is what the world views as trafficking, but what's going on with trafficking is your abdication. And I don't want people to think I'm attacking them. What I'm saying is as a humanity, right, of abdicating our responsibility as parents and are being absorbed in our own worlds and not engaging in the world around us has caused an issue.
Great. Let's take a look at this, and then we're going to pop right back in here to pick up from there. Take a look.
When I saw you, I would lose control. Made me feel like there was no tomorrow. Should have told you that you're beautiful, but the days pass and now it's so long ago. Did you make it? Did you break free? Did you manage to be who you wanna be? Maybe somewhere you think about me too. I wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Wouldn't know my name, wouldn't know it until you feel the same. Wonder where are you now?
So there it is. And you actually, this was during COVID. And it was the first time, you know, I was shocked at myself that I got up and went. Because, you know, we didn't even go out to the mailbox. Throw the shit up here. Throw it to the door. We'll get it. Literally. We were we're looking to see if the mailman has on gloves. That's where we were fear-based at that point. But something inside of there just checked the box. And suddenly it was okay for me to go to the airport. I didn't get COVID. I was there. I saw other people. And so removing that fear thing helped me to be proactive. So I would like to talk now about, because we're just starting the fleshing out process for the Power of We, but already I'm thinking, you know, okay, breakout rooms, more interactivity, role playing, so people can see how it actually happens, to hear from victims, to hear from rescuers, and so that they can give us the entire, because it's all about journey is point A, which is where we're at. And the point B is everything beyond where we're at. And then there's this sacred space in between A and B, which is experience and journey. And the only way, you know, somebody's at A, somebody's at B. But if you talk between each other, you can get an idea of what the experience is or it should not be. And so like self-defense, I'm wondering, is there something? What do you look for? What are the clues? Where are places? You know, why can't we pull up something to say, here's how many kids were taken from these areas in your community? You know, here's where we rescued people from in your surrounding community, just like if I want to see where the predators live. How come we don't have that stuff?
Yeah. Well, there is, as I was telling you, it's a complex issue, right? And because you have prevention, which is what you're talking about. And there are organizations that are out there that are going school to school to school, and they're teaching about these types of things. Not enough, by the way, not enough, but you have that. Not currently funded well enough, because, you know, we'd rather teach our kids who have really gotten past the idea of looking at each other through the eyes of race, that in order for the elite to control them, we need to teach them that black and white are different and that they shouldn't get along and all that other kind of stuff, which is bullshit. So, but you have that piece of it, and then you have the rescue, the extraction of a child that has been, and then you have aftercare, right, which is a place to put them to recover and to have a healing experience. And then you have things like what's going on in Arizona right now, where the people got tired enough about it. Because remember, you are powerful in your seat if you get out of that seat and you go take action. Let me give you a specific example. What happened in Arizona? The people rose up and said, enough with this crap with our children. And what they did was they went to, and Leo Benassi from Arizona, he's a Republican, I believe, that took this ballot issue that the people of Arizona came together around and said, enough is enough. And they put forth HB 2889, I believe is what it was, and passed it 51-1, right? Just recently, 51-1, that there is a life sentence for pedophiles, child pornography, or trafficking in their state. Right. A life sentence. Now, that is a deterrent, right? And in most of the United States, New York and other places, you can go to jail for, you and I could go to jail for longer for having an 8-ball of cocaine in our pocket than if we were trafficking children, right? That's what needs to change. So it's complex, is my point.
It is complex, but even this. So we got the 51-1 or whatever. I think it was what, 51-1? Right. How come we don't know who that one was?
I mean, they should put that person out and figure out how the hell did you get elected, right? How the hell did somebody like that get elected?
That's my point. Those people.
But when we're paying attention, but look, Lauren, when we're paying attention to the stuff that, like little puppets, all I'm saying is cut the puppet strings. Believe what you want to believe. You and I certainly do not see eye to eye on many issues, right? We don't. We have different opinions of different things, and you and I have gone head to head, like, yelling at each other over different topics, hanging up on each other and stuff.
Yeah.
But what happens is, underlying that, you and I know each other's hearts. And I just want every American to hear that your neighbor's heart is the same as yours. It's the same as yours. They want the same things for them and their family,
Correct.
right? And there's a small portion of the world that's evil that wins, because if Lauren and I ever got to a place where we were like, screw it, he's too white and he's too black and we're separated, that is God's power that just got diminished. Just even if it's 1%, it just got diminished. And I will not allow a narrative that is utilized by the elite in this country. And I'm talking big business. Stop shopping at Amazon, people. Stop it. You are literally shooting yourself in the foot every single time you order from Amazon. And stop allowing these people to continue to be elected. Let's get some things in place for the government to have term limits on it. Those two issues right there start to change the trajectory, right? If you want it, the greatest way for you to maintain your freedom in this world is to have independent access to capital. That means starting your own business, owning your own business, doing business with each other. And as long as you're giving that business to Amazon, you're shooting yourself and your neighbor in the foot to having independent access to capital and needing a government to get permission for you to eat from, right? So when we talk about this, Lauren, I get fired up because whoever's watching this in their own seat can stand up and do something about it.
You've been on how many missions?
Lots. I've lost count, but lots.
Can you give us an idea of something that you've seen when you retrieve one of these people?
I have a lot of heartbreak. Yes. So I have a lot of experiences, and one of the things that has shocked me in a little bit is that no rescue is ever the same. No rescue is ever the same. And the child that we happen to be going after, whether it's one or many that we discover, there's always a story behind it. Most of the kids that are out there, and this is damnation on our generation, most of the kids that are out there, nobody's looking for, because they come from a family who has separated, single parent homes, families that are addicted to drugs or alcohol, or whatever these different scenarios are, and they just say, "Oh, my 12-year-old ran away, nothing I can do about it," and they don't do anything about it. So there's, I'll give you one story that I can tell that I can tell you about. The first time that I went, I thought I was ready for it, and I wasn't. The very first mission I went on, I thought I was ready for it, and I wasn't. It literally almost broke my spirit. One of the things that you have to understand is that when you're doing this kind of work, you have to disassociate from the emotions of it to do undercover work. You have to be in the moment, and you have to understand the mission is to get these kids out and to put the bad guys away, right? Not engage in, and I'm going to say this because Pastor Rudy's, further developed in his, spiritual walk, which is why I look at him as my leader. But I had a hatred so deep and so on fire for what was going on that I almost couldn't control it, right? Which would have interrupted the mission. It wouldn't have put those 11 bad guys away. We had 36 little girls out that time. Like that's how I wasn't ready for it. And that's where I started the campaign in my own life to be a happy warrior, to not let that seep into my soul and darken who I am, but to be a happy warrior and to look at this like, you know what, I have to be able to attract people to me because we need money, we need influence, we need governments, we need schools, we need all these people. And if I'm this dark spirit going, you guys all suck, it's all your fault, nobody's going to want to join the mission. Right?
There needs to be a willingness to listen.
And that's a really great point for your listeners to hear, is that if you are some sort of dark, whiny, bitchy, moany person who's all about yourself and the personal affronts to you, you're not going to influence or impact anybody because you're a selfish person, right?
Ooh, good catch. Because I know what you really wanted to say.
I know. I'm being really careful with my language today. but at the end of the day, the next most powerful moment for me, was right around the time of defund the police. And we've had people, 65. So just so those the people that were all about the defund the police thing, we had 65 trafficking officers in LA County that were working, which was not near enough, being in the top 3 of all hubs in the entire world at just trading places 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. And now there's zero. There's zero trafficking officers because of defund the police. Some of the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my entire life was the defund the police movement. Now, but
well,
it
Jason,
was around the
defund. Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, before we get too far down the block from that, well, couldn't that be some of those customers that are powerful people in there saying, you know what?
It was those people that were dividing us, because let me tell you what was happening. The narrative at the time, which has continued to be persistent, not as much, thank God. The message at the time was Black people are oppressed by the police, right? Mm-hmm. And mm-hmm. white people don't care about it and want to excuse it, and it's their fault for slavery and all the other stuff in this generation, right? And we should be at each other's throat. We saw BLM going around and attacking people because they were white. We saw this narrative that was going on at this particular moment for this particular rescue that I'm going to talk about. And what happened was we were out and we found this girl, and there's a lot of backstory to it, but we've been looking for her for about 9 months, and we found her. And we had to protect her before we could, because she was with her pimp at the time. And so we had to surround that car, and we had to wait for it, wait for the police to come. And it was one of the coldest nights it was late afternoon. The sun was going down, and it was one of the coldest days that I've ever experienced. And we had to stand out there and surround. Now, the police didn't get there for over 2 hours, and we stood post. And there was a guy that's on our team that is, 6 foot. I think you may have met him actually at the march, right?
I remember this. Yeah, sitting in the car.
A giant white dude, right?
Yeah.
A giant white dude. And he was posted up right next to the victim's door so that, just to be protected, and stood out there in the cold just like this, didn't move, didn't shake, didn't do anything, because he was watching her. It was a little Black girl, and was keeping her eye. And she rolled down her window at one point and said to him, "Aren't you cold?" And he said, "Of course I'm cold." And she said, "I can't believe that this is all happening for me." And he responded to her, "Baby girl, there has been 30 plus people looking for you, praying for you, waiting for this moment for us to come and find you. And we found you, and we're not letting you go." Right. And it brings tears to my eyes every single time I talk about this, because he was an ex-police officer shot in the line of duty that was out there donating and giving his time for this church-based, Christian-based organization that was primarily made up of white people. We have, it's a mixture, and we were fighting against what at that particular time, for the lives of about 12 different children of color. And nobody cared about the color. Nobody cared about who was looking. Nobody cared about the children's skin color, the pimp skin color, the perpetrator, the Johns, right? Nobody cared. And all of that was happening under the umbrella of we should be hating each other. And so that moment in my life will always stick in my brain. And it really fired me up about this idea. And I've been on both sides of the issue. I've been a Democrat. I've been a Republican. Now I'm a libertarian. I've been on both sides. And now I see what has happened is a poison has metastasized at the top of our country that needs to be excised through our peaceful transfer of power back to people like you and I and people watching this, because that's our civic duty. And so those are a couple of instances. I'll tell you one last one, and then I'll let you take back over your show. And this was the the last one that we were on. We found this girl that we've been looking for, and she again said, I didn't know anybody was looking for me. And we were extricating her out of this situation. And I watched her cling, like, you know what, like if somebody tried to take you and Brian apart, and you said, you know what, this is the last time you're ever going to see each other, how tightly would you hold on to each other?
Lord.
You know what I mean? Like there would be
in the color purple, when they tried to separate Celie and Nettie, it'd be like that.
It would be like that. And that's how tightly this girl, this little young girl, was holding on to her pimp, desperate not to be let go, because that was the one place in her life. And it broke my heart in the moment, because it changed a perspective that I had, was that pimp was the source of her love and attention, even if it was in the form of beatings, even if it was in the forms of drugs, even if it was the form of being sold. She was property, right? And she felt that was her one source of, no matter how jacked up this sounds, that was her source of being, of belonging. And Pastor Rudy will hammer it home that we need to know our worth. And the fact that that young lady did not know her worth, that she didn't have anybody in her life that said to her, you are worth more than being a pet. You are worth more than being property. You are worth more. You know, and you know, Emily, the love of my life, and Pastor Rudy's daughters, Maddie and Cece, and the mom, Lori, that's what they do. They infuse and they say, you're loved by God Almighty, who put it, you know, died for his son, who gave his only begotten son for you. And then surrounding them by that love, that no matter what happens, that's a moment in your life. It doesn't define you. You're not garbage. You are worth gold. You are worth diamonds. You are worth more in this life to something and somebody that's more powerful and bigger, this entire world. Mm-hmm. And that's our job as society, to let these kids and our elderly know that they are worth something to us. They're worth us pulling our damn noses out of our Facebook and all the different things that are out there, so that we can spend one-on-one time to say, yep, I love you.
I agree. And I'm going to say this as we get out of here. We have a couple minutes left. The reason I'm like I said at the beginning, starting to talk about this, to have this conversation early, because it's not about the Eventbrite ticket sales. It's not about a lot of the things that people would think. What it is about is, I cannot unsee what I've seen. I cannot unhear what I've heard. And I'm hoping that there will be something there, one word, one sentence, one paragraph, that someone walks away with that day, April 28th, at the Stan Mansion, that allows them to not forget that they can't unhear it, that they can't unsee it. And that way they'll tell someone else, and then they can't unhear it, and then they can't unsee it. But as long as we keep our mouths shut and we keep our butts planted in a seat, we are never going to change anything at all.
Well, let me take it one step further, Lauren, because as you know, I don't care about offending the wrong people. I don't care about offending anybody, because those of you that know me know my heart, and I speak the truth in love. And if it offends you, I don't really care. What I will say is that when Lauren, or anybody, right, but specifically Lauren, in the instance of Power of We, what he's putting together is, if you have a call on your life to go and you make an excuse like, I don't have money, I don't have time, whatever it is, that's okay. If you're passionate or you're working some other way, don't take it as a guilt trip. But if you're called to be there, be there. Get up, spend the money, come to Chicago, hang out with us, meet these kids, and get your butt in a seat, so that we can connect and we can continue to grow God's army at taking back this world from darkness.
There you go. That's it. That's it. Enough said. So, Jason, as always, thank you. And we'll be doing this quite a bit over the next 6 or 7 months as we draw closer, because, you know, listen, people, sometimes we look at the big apple and we think my little nibble won't make a difference at all. But if we each come and turn this issue into a modern day stone soup story, bring whatever you have. A little bit of nothing doesn't do anything. A little bit of something can do everything. Take that with you. Get out and have a wonderful weekend. Be the blessing you want to see in the world. I'll see you, God willing, Monday morning, right out front where, I have no idea who my guest is because I haven't booked it yet. So there'll be a surprise waiting here for you Monday morning. I guarantee it. So listen, we want you at the Power of We. I have dropped the link inside the chat. Please go over and look at what we have done and then see where you can be a part of what we are currently doing. Thank you so much. And Jason, thank you. And thank all of you for showing up. I love you and I couldn't do it without you. Have a great weekend. God bless you all. Bye-bye.